So, welcome to another show. Today we have Robert Brill on, who is a CEO of Brill Media. So, welcome to the show, Rob.
Thanks for having me, Jivan. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Pleasure's all mine. So, marketing, quite a general word, I think. It's a
Yeah.
word that has got many connotations for many different people. But what does
Yeah.
marketing specifically mean to you, and how you what your perspective is on it?
Yeah. Marketing is the broad scope term that encompasses a number of different practices. So, search engine optimization is a practice, PR is a practice, social content posting is a practice. Another one would be all the creative development and brand development. Those are different practices. Advertising is a subset of marketing. And by definition, so what we do is we run ads to help businesses grow. And running ads or media buying or ad buying is when you are spending money to deliver a message and the money is going to the ad platform. So, like if you buy ads on Facebook or Google, by definition, it's an ad if you're spending money to reach people. If you are reaching people in a way that doesn't cost you money directly to the platform, it's not advertising, it's some sort of other marketing or promotion.
Okay, so advertising is the exchange of money for promotion. Marketing is, as
Yes.
you said, I think you mentioned brand is putting yourself out there to generate more organic growth, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. Like, for example, when you want to have a social media strategy and you post content every day, 30 days a month, you're paying an agency, or you might pay several tools to help you design content, but that's not advertising specifically. Um, the general idea for us is that advertising and marketing work together. One of the most important parts of this business that's often forgotten is the fact that you should learn something from your marketing and advertising. You should learn the type of content, the types of messages, the types of products and services that people want from you. And that's sort of the iteration of product market fit. What do you say and how do you say it and how do you price your business so that people buy stuff from you, so they spend money from you?
So what you're saying there is that a specific, there are certain specific parts that you need to tailor. So something more bespoke, let's say. But are there more general practices that are across the board for whether you're selling a book, whether you're selling a service or another product of some sort? Is there some fundamental
Yeah.
marketing um, rules that can't be broken,
Yes.
really? But there is obviously, as with any rule, there is an exception to the rule.
Of course. So the exceptions to the rule are when you go viral. The standard rules apply. Have a strategy. And a strategy is a navigation plan. It's like when you want to fly from London to New York, or you want to get from London to New York. You have to decide how you're going to get there. You can take a boat, which will take you forever. You could fly. Those are your two basic options. So you've already made a decision. Now, if you're going to fly, um, which airline are you going to fly out of? How much are you going to spend on the flight? What time of day, etc. So what we just described there is your navigation plan, but it's very similar to a strategy. A strategy starts with an identifier of where you want to be in the future, a year from now, 3 years from now, and then a number of other factors that will help you identify the steps you need to take today to achieve your 3-year goal. And those steps include understanding your market, like what do they want from you? What is the transformative value that you provide to your customers or your clients that make them want to buy from you. Looking at the competitive landscape to understand how other companies that are offering similar services or products go to market and talk about themselves. It's understanding the economics of your business. What does it cost to acquire a customer? What does it cost? What's the lifetime value of a customer? So once you have all this stuff identified, that's when you pair up all this information with a determination of where you should market and where you should advertise and what you should do inside each of these platforms to generate sales. So that's what a strategy is. You needed a strategy for marketing and advertising in 1950, and you need a strategy in 2024. The next component that doesn't, and I'll stop in a moment because the next immutable law of marketing is the creative is king. The creative is what the consumers see. And if the creative is compelling, if it resonates, if it's exciting in some way, or if it's entertaining in some way, it will resonate to a higher degree than just boring average creative. So have a strategy and rely on the creative to deliver your message effectively.
I like at the start there, and well, throughout that explanation there, that you asked questions. What do you need to, well, what's your acquiring cost? What do you want to deliver? I think that's important, not necessarily just in advertising, but in any sort of endeavor. What am I trying to deliver? What's the cost to deliver it? What issues are there going to be on the way? As you said, what airline am I going to fly with? What's the budget? Do I want to go first class? What time of day do I want to fly?
Right,
What airport am I going to fly from? Is it faster for me to drive to a further airport to save the money to then
right.
travel? And I think that unless you ask these questions, and whether it's life questions, whether it's marketing questions, whatever question it may be, you're not going to get the specific answer that you need. So I think it's really good that you go in with that sort of thought process, is to ask these sort of qualifying questions, if you like, to try and determine what would be the best strategy for me, because there's no one size fits all. You must fly from, on this airline at this time of day from, America to London, um, and then stay in this hotel. That might not be the right thing for everyone because they might not have that budget. They might not want to go to that place. They might not live anywhere near that particular airport. I think that's really, really important that that's the case. A question I've got, and this is again maybe a mentality thing, and I know that you're quite um intrigued with mentality as well. A lot of people say things like, "I can't afford to advertise." What's your answer to that? Because for me, with anything, you have to understand that to generate something afterwards, you have to give something. If you want to sell, you
Yeah,
have to give a service, you have to give a product. In order to generate sales, sometimes you have to pay for advertising to get yourself out there.
right.
Unless you're someone like Rolls-Royce and Lamborghini who don't necessarily advertise, as you said, they build a brand. And the type of people who buy their products aren't necessarily watching TV, for example. But how do you sort of show or demonstrate that there can be a positive return from advertising in respect to sales
Yeah.
and building a brand alongside that?
Right. If you have product market fit, you can't afford not to advertise. Because all you're doing with advertising is amplifying the message that's going to bring you in more money. Now, the people who say I can't afford to advertise are the people who don't believe in their product or service, or they don't have product market fit, or they don't understand the power of advertising. Because if I could turn $1 into $10 repeatedly, why wouldn't you do it? So then it's a question of, do you have product market fit? And product market fit is when you have the ability to say the right thing and price your business correctly so that people buy stuff from you. And there's ways with advertising and without advertising to develop product market fit. For my company, it took me 2 years to develop product market fit, to understand what to say and how to say it before clients would spend money with us. So, like fundamentally, um, if you're not ready to advertise, you may not have product market fit. You may not believe in your product or service, or you may not want to grow your business. And those are all perfectly fine reasons not to advertise, and you shouldn't advertise at that point. And then it's a question of determining, what do you want to accomplish out of your business? Do you want to stay a relatively small company? Because that's a good strategy for a lot of people. Do you not have the ability to sell? In which case, you've got to focus your energy on finding how to sell more effectively. So these questions will often, we like to ask very specific questions that will yield a very specific action. It will force people down a path, not for our benefit, but for the benefit of the business. And the first step of that is understanding what you want to accomplish. And a lot of people don't know what they want to accomplish. A lot of people will engage us with advertising and we'll ask them, like, how have you grown your business in the past? And they won't have any real insight into how they've grown their business in the past. And that usually sets up for, they just want to advertise. If there's no strategy behind it, that's usually a setup for failure.
So let's use an example because you used the word product market fit. I don't know, probably 10 times in that little exchange there. So I just want to understand what that means from if I was to give two examples, let's say one, a service. So you had a service as some sort of consultant, a coach, or a public speaker, whatever it may be,
Right.
or you're selling a product, whether that's a book, a pen, a pencil. Is there a different product market fit? I know one's not a product technically, but there would be some similarities, I'm sure. What's the key differential between the two?
Product market fit is when you're dating or you're not dating and you're trying to get a date and you keep asking girls out and they say no to you. You've either got to ask different type of girl or you've got to change the way you're doing it. Once you figure that out and you improve yourself along the way, that's when you've achieved product market fit. Like it's that simple. So whether you're selling a course or you're launching a book, like I'll give you an example. In Los Angeles, you don't see there are no Caribbean fast food restaurants. There's like Chinese food, there's Italian, there's burgers, there's pho from Vietnamese food. There's a lot of like relatively good fast food places. Um, there's I can't think of any one place that serves Caribbean fast food. Why? Chances are because people in Los Angeles don't want to eat Caribbean fast food. It sounds great. I would eat it 100%. But I'm sure there are companies who have tried and who have failed because either the taste is too dissimilar or people don't understand what they're buying, so they don't buy. Whatever it is, there's no product, there's no fit. So what in the phrasing product market fit, you're matching two audiences. You're matching the marketplace. Are there people who want what you have? Are there people who want generally what you offer? And then there's the product. Does your product fit inside the preconceived notions of what people want out of that service? So when you're talking about product market fit, it's literally like in a very basic way, understanding. I'll tell you how I achieved product market fit. It took me 2 years, and I talked to people at conferences, at networking events. I went to meetups, and I talked to people as much as I possibly could about marketing and advertising services until I refined what I said so that people's eyes would stop glossing over and they'd say that they're interested. And you learn things along the way, right? I learned how to talk about my business in a way that was compelling to the people I was speaking to. Like if I talk to a restaurant owner, here's what they don't care about. They don't care about programmatic advertising. They don't care about hyper local. Partially because no one, unless you're like deep in the weeds of advertising technology, knows what programmatic advertising is, and that's okay. So when I go to a restaurant owner and I say the alternative, instead of talking about those jargony terms, which no one cares about, it just confuses people. But if I say, look, I can get you more butts and seats and increase your order value using advertising and marketing efforts, that's far more compelling to them because I've identified their problem. I've given them a solution to their problem, and I've handed them money from the perspective of I can help them grow their business. And that's what product market fit is about. It's understanding what to say across communications devices, channels, etc., so that people are like, yes, I want that.
Well, that's it. It's the relatable nature. Instead of you saying, "Oh, I can t increase your margin by X%, and we can, make your profit and loss do X, Y, and Z," you're saying butts on seats and increase the order value, and that
Right.
is well, like, what else do I need from my restaurant?
Right.
More people are coming in, and the people that are coming in are ordering more. I don't need to worry about what that's going to mean for margins. All I know is that that's going to make my profit and my business more, well, make my business more profitable rather. And that's
100%.
the key variables that make up that end figure. And I think the other thing is what you said as well is really important, especially with sales, marketing, advertising. You sometimes need to do trial and error, seeing what feedback you get from individuals. This hasn't quite worked. What tweaks do we need to make in language or the way that we are packaging a product, packaging a service? as you said, are we aiming too high in terms of cost? Are we aiming too low in terms of cost? Are we
Right.
hitting the right demographic? And coming back to the Caribbean thing, because I was just thinking about that. Is it that the demographic of people who would buy it are not around? Or is it a
Yes.
case of there are the demographic of individuals, but their parents and their family can cook so authentically, why would they ever eat out?
Right. It's yeah, I don't think there's a particularly big demographic of Caribbean nationals in the United States or specifically in Los Angeles, but like I've been to other cities, I just haven't seen it. And also I think for other ethnic and ethnicities, there's plenty of why would I ever eat out because no one's going to compare to the culture and the cooking that we can get from the family. And so you want to make friends with those people and go to
Yeah,
their homes and eat their food.
yeah, it's a real good t test anyway. Is if you look at a restaurant, whether it's Chinese, Japanese, Thai, Indian, and you see the demographic of people in that type of restaurant, you know it's going to be good food.
100%. So I went to Hong Kong with my girlfriend, now my wife, and like so in Hong Kong there's this place called Lantau Island, which is there's a massive Buddha on a mountain. And it's glorious. It's kind of like one of Earth's special places. So it's like it's in Lantau Island and it's far away from the main city of Hong Kong, the main area. We're in Kowloon, and so we were like, all right, we're going to take the train and we're going to go to the place where you go take the gondola up the mountain. On the way, we stopped, and there was a residential area which was three like 30 floor buildings. Right, if you've ever been to Hong Kong, everything there is a mall. So you have three buildings, which are the residential areas, the high rises. You have like a mall at the bottom. And so we went into this random place and ate food. And we were such a spectacle because, first of all, like this is not by far not a tourist area. We were the only Caucasians in the spot. The locals were there. They don't offer napkins when you go to eat, like you have to carry napkins with you. So like a nice older lady like took pity on my wife and I and gave us napkins. We were eating like basically like brunch breakfasty stuff like 11 o'clock. But it was the exact same. It was dim sum food, like in buns, but like a little sweeter. The palate was completely different. Like, and it also wasn't in English, but whatever we ordered was so different than we normally ate. So I think there's a palate concern as well that like if you make certain types of food that people just aren't familiar with, like they're not going to try it, it won't be happening, and that company's going to go out of business. So palate makes a big difference as well.
Well, that's the product market fit, isn't it, that you've been talking about? If
Right,
you're in that area, it needs to be authentic food. If you
right.
whereas maybe in some areas of America, it maybe doesn't need to be as authentic. It can be that sort of westernized version of Indian or Chinese. Like even here in the UK, there's certain Indian restaurants or Chinese restaurants or Thai restaurants that it's tailored towards non-traditional cooking, if that makes sense. Just the way that the meat is prepared,
Right.
style of cooking, etc., etc. So when I go there, I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't authentic, but I can understand, it's okay, but I can understand why it doesn't work.
Well, and
Other
Chinese
areas
food.
of town, it's it's
Yeah.
it's completely different. And I think this is exactly the whole premise of what you're saying is product market fit. Are you supplying the right product or service to the right
Right.
demographic of people? And if you can't, this is where maybe you come in and say, well, you're here and this is where you want to be, or vice versa. How can we come in to align that so there's a straight rail track essentially?
And look, and that's exactly where you go with marketing and advertising. It's a little bit of consumer insight. You've got to understand why people will want or not want your product or service. And then it's a lot of testing. Like we're scientists, and the way we conduct tests is we run ads, we look at the performance of the ads, and we say, look, this did well, so do more of this thing, but this other thing didn't really do well. And that's how you use like Meta, for example. Meta, you can deploy a really powerful creative testing framework that can power your entire advertising creative development. Like you learn stuff on Meta, And then whatever you learn on Meta, you push out to Google and LinkedIn and et cetera, so that it really makes a big difference in how you go to market and how effective you are.
So do you predominantly use Meta as your advertising? You know, if I was to come in as a client and say, look, I've got
Mhm.
a book that I want to advertise, market, promote, whichever of those words that you want to use, would that be the predominant platform you use, or would it be a case of actually more bespoke, saying actually, well, do you want to be selling more locally? Do you want to sell internationally and things like that?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, uh, first of all, we're channel agnostic. I'm not specifically here to sell Meta, nor Google, nor Hulu, or LinkedIn, or TikTok, whatever the case is. Our job is to develop a strategy and then activate that strategy expertly and know what to look for to make your business grow. Specifically with a book, we're actually having this conversation with an author right now. The first conversation is, where are you selling the book? Are you selling it on Amazon or are you selling it on Shopify? If you're selling the book on Amazon, then chances are you should be spending all of your advertising budget, at least in the start, on Amazon. And then um, and then expand out to Google and Meta and other places. But in the I apologize, I don't have the stats for the UK, but in the United States, 45% of all digital ad spending is going to go to Meta and Google in 2024. So chances are you should really be on Meta and Google. But each channel is different. There are ads on Uber. I saw an ad for HubSpot when I took an Uber ride. There's ads on Instacart. So the other sort of side note is everything's an ad network. If you have an accumulation of people, it can become an ad network, which is kind of interesting. So this goes back to the strategy on understanding your current business situation. So it's like hard because people want shortcuts. And the reality is there's such nuance and customization available for every business that it's a disservice for every business to do a shortcut. And what ends up happening is when you take a shortcut, it takes you thousands of hours away from where you're trying to go because you're doing all kinds of things wrong and you're trying to learn things. And it costs you tens of thousands of dollars or more in sunk, mistaken delivery of your advertising. You've gone the wrong path and you keep going down the wrong path. Whereas you could spend a few $1,000s for an expert and bypass and accelerate to the end of those thousands of hours where you figured it out and not waste tens of thousands of dollars doing it wrong. So that's the key part of the equation that we provide as well, just the expertise to help you make good advertising investment decisions.
Yeah, it's a case of being a specialist as well. Like I could say, I don't know, I'm going to cut my own hair or I'm going to tattoo myself because I'm going to save money. But what you're not going to realize it's going to be a shit job. And as you said, by the time you've worked out, how to clip it properly, you can't see the back of your head. You've got your own perspective. You're probably not going to be the best job. Coming back to the advertising, is it primarily, and I'm a bit of a noob at this sort of stuff. I'm not a marketer, and this is all interesting stuff to me. Is it primarily about visibility? Is it about being visible to people, or is it about maybe? Okay, let's use two examples. One is that you're visible to everyone can see you. You know, you're on everyone's Instagram, whatever it is going to be, and that is a numbers game. You're visible to as many people as possible. Or is it about being visible in the right way to the type of
Yeah.
people that are more likely to buy?
The second one. That's 100% the second one, right? Like no company has enough money to create visibility to everyone. And even if you do, you don't have enough money to do it as many times as necessary to get the right people. So just cut to the chase and and segment your audience. It's very important to understand who your audience is because once you understand your audience, you can then send messages to them. A lot of, one of the big trends in advertising right now is inside the platforms, the creative is what drives the delivery. Meaning, I'm not going to target like agency owners or fractional CMOs in my ads. I'm going to target a bunch of people, but I'm going to target them with my ad creative such that those people know that I'm talking to them, and the platform knows how to route my message to the people who are most interested in it right now. So on Meta, for example, there's keyword targeting and interest targeting. That's old tech. It's like using an iPhone from 2017. Does it still work? Yeah, but there's like far better ways of using it. The what Meta wants you to do is target age, gender, and location broad. So for me, I target the entire US as the broad geographic location. If I had a restaurant, or we work with the restaurants, it's a 5 mile radius that they can order from. So our broad targeting for restaurants is 5 miles. And if you're in Manhattan, it's probably 3 blocks, right? So it depends on where you are. And then age and gender. If you serve men and women, you target men and women. And then by age, whatever the age group is. So in our case, there in the United States, there's about 40,000 agencies. And let's say that each agency has two possible decision makers, like the number one and number two, the owner and their general manager, whatever the case is. So I'm really only targeting 80,000 people, but our broad targeting on Meta targets 140 million people. How can those ads possibly be successful? They're successful because Meta knows how to route the ad to the people who are interested in our product or service. So it's like search engine optimization. You know how you do a Google search and the top 10 keywords come up, or the top 10 links come up off of a keyword search. Google knows the sites that are best suited for that search. In the same way, Meta understands the types of people who are best suited for our ad messages.
So it does that through sort of AI, and it starts to work out maybe that this type of person at this age group. So if you did it, let's say again, we'll choose some examples here. As you said, you've done the whole of the US, so you've done both males and females within a certain age range. After a
Right.
while, it will start to realize maybe the imprints that are coming from the clicks onto, let's say, a web page. The majority of people are male between 20 and 30. Let's say it's for trainers, pair of
Yeah.
night trainers. Will
Yeah.
it then niche down itself, or would you need to niche it down to that demographic?
It niches down for me. It does the retargeting for me. It understands when my clients or my customers have put something into a cart and then abandoned the cart, and then it'll serve up my product or service in that moment. So it's very adept at really understanding who we are, because Meta has, number one, has 10 or 20 years of data on most of us. Number two, it has data outside of Meta, like when you listen to music or uh, watch the news or anything you do online. It's a lot of it is going to be tracked back to Meta, and then it has its AI and its algorithm that really refines that data. So what makes Meta so powerful, and the reason it's over $1 trillion company, is because it has great data, and that great data is really good at being deployed in an effective way. LinkedIn, for example, has good data, but its algorithm is not as strong. So it's a different equation there.
So is there any, because I know you spoke, or you sort of are an advocate for AI. Is that something that you utilize within the marketing, or is it the AI that's already built into these technologies that you know how to utilize effectively, if that makes sense?
Yeah, all of the above. I mean, if you're buying ads on Meta, you're using AI and algorithmic decisioning to get your ads in front of the right people. We also use AI in our business in a few different ways. It's an accelerator. When we want to do research, we go to AI, and it saves us 20 to 60 minutes of research on something. Like I'll give you an example. I'm building a course, or it's live. I have a course that's newly live that teaches people how to start a marketing agency and completely outsource everything. So of course I went to AI and said, what are the workshops and workbooks that I need to assign during my course to give people the best possible way of being successful. When I wrote out in the individual modules of my course, I went to AI and I said, how should I structure this to make it easily digestible to our audience? And then I said, what are the key things a business needs to know when they grow their business, when they're just starting out? So, and I can talk to all these things, but it helped me it accelerated my ability from doing 2 or 3 hours of research, reading links, doing things, doing research that way. It just gave me the information that I need.
It
So
did.
that, yeah,
So I'm just going to say, I mean, I use ChatGPT as well, and
yeah,
even if it's not just straight off the bat where you use it to just give you a whole synopsis of what to do, it acts as a good clarifier as well for you've done
yeah,
something and you just say you ask that the same question. It's like, oh, actually, I've done all of that, but there's one bit I actually didn't think about or didn't
right.
incorporate, and I incorporate it because I mean I'm writing well, I've written 2 books, writing a third book, and I run
Nice.
stuff past I've written in there, and just to see if there's any bits that I've maybe not thought about. And to be honest, most of the time I have, but there's 1 or 2 times I'm like, oh yeah, that's something that I didn't think about. And it just gives you that bit of clarification. And I think it's important that you're using things in the right way because the tools are out there for anything, good or bad. You know, if you've got, you can give a gun to someone sensible or someone not sensible, an idiot, and you're gonna get completely two different outcomes. And it's about how you're using resources that's important. But yeah, talk about a little bit more about the course because obviously that's helpful for people who are looking to, you know, develop into this marketing space.
Yeah, so it's designed for three different types of people. So in marketing terms, there's three different ideal customer personas. Number one is going to be anyone who maybe doesn't have a ton of experience but is really passionate about marketing, and they can learn what I've learned over the last 20 years to ensure that like they don't make the mistakes that I've made. They could use the tools that are accessible to us to accelerate the growth of their business. The second group of people is going to be people, there's a lot of people who sell advertising in the US and UK that work for big companies like Facebook and Google and smaller companies. And they're really smart, talented individuals who maybe want more freedom and they don't want to be salespeople for their entire lives. And maybe they want to sell for themselves. So it's for them. If you have marketing knowledge and you just don't know how to package it up in a way that's effective, this will be a really easy like bridge to get you to the point where you can start a business. The third persona that we're looking at and who I met at a conference recently is um, a consultant who doesn't want to be a consultant anymore. So I'm thinking of, people at Deloitte and Touche, Boston Consulting Group, McKinsey, etc. Really incredibly smart people who would just kill it in the advertising business if they could just have it packaged up and available for them. So we give you everything from ideal customer persona, how to achieve product market fit, tactical ways to sell, how to outsource everything, structure of your agency, how to um, talk in a smart way about search engine optimization and social content posting, and how to like maximize the heck out of your revenue and do something good for the people you serve as well.
So they've got the option of the course, as you said, for maybe the self-starters. But what about if someone wants to come to you directly with a project? You know, they've got this project they're dealing with, and they haven't got time to do the course or to try anything themselves. They're like, I need someone who, as you said, delegate. I can delegate this out to. They're going to do it all for me. I can reap the
Mhm.
benefits of it. What type of clients do you deal with? Is there any certain demographic, or is it, as you said, a case of you come with what you want, and I'll develop a specific strategy? And yeah, is a minimum spend? Is there how does
Yeah.
it work?
Right. So to run advertising campaigns, we will manage them starting at $1,500 a month. That's inclusive of ad spend. And the way a lot of our clients are actually other agencies that pair up their services and our services, and we white label. So they white label us. So they'll develop the ad creative, they'll shoot the commercials, the production, all that stuff. And then when they want to reach customers, we'll come in and run the ads for them as a member of their team. So the people who are ultimately marketing to for our business are other agencies, which is why the course makes a lot of sense because I want to connect with more agencies as be an outsourced ad buying solution for them. But in terms of companies that we advertise, it runs the gamut. We work with governments, we work with ticket sellers, we generate B2B leads for ourselves and other B2B companies, accounting firms. Um, yeah, we help city governments attract business and tourism. Like everything we do is really focused on lead generation or sales. There's some metric that you can look at to drive performance.
So if people do want to reach out to you in whatever shape or form, or the course is there and online for it as well, or
Yeah, go to brillmedia.co, B as in boy, RILL media.co, and you'll see all the information on our website.
fantastic. Is there anything that we've maybe not covered in terms of little gems or little nuggets of experience that you've got that you think would be worthwhile to know? So, as an example, not saying you should say this, but marketing outside of the corporate world, even marketing yourself, whether it's to a job or to in a relationship or to friends, is there something that you think that maybe is the product market fit, as you said?
Yeah, I mean the best time to market is when you don't need the revenue. Because marketing is about building relationships, whether you're an employee and you want better jobs, it's about building relationships, so nurture your network. If you're starting a business, look for ways that are going to be within your budget to get out there, talk about your business, and look for that feedback loop. You really want to be able to, marketing is a practice. And when we talk about practice, we mean it's like a yoga. Yoga is a practice, or playing an instrument is a practice. You get better at it day by day. And even I've been in the business for 20 years. It's always going to be a practice. So for every business owner out there, anyone that has to inspire and motivate someone to do something that benefits them, practice makes perfect. And iterative steps to become better are always going to be to your benefit. So instead of starting tomorrow, start today.
Love it. Well, on that note, thanks very much for being on the show, Rob. And yeah, as you said, start today and don't wait for tomorrow.